My name is Ethan and I'm 28 now, but this happened back when I was 25, on Halloween night in 2022. I live in a small town in upstate New York, the kind of place where everyone knows each other and Halloween is a big deal. Kids running around in costumes, houses decked out with fake cobwebs and glowing pumpkins. That year, I was house-sitting for my aunt and uncle while they were away on a cruise. Their old Victorian house sat on the edge of town, surrounded by dense woods that always looked a little too shadowy, even in daylight. The leaves had turned fiery orange and red, crunching underfoot like brittle bones, and the air carried that crisp, smoky scent of autumn bonfires. I wasn't thrilled about being alone, but I figured it'd be easy money. Hand out candy to trick-or-treaters, watch some scary movies, and crash in their guest room. My aunt had left a massive bowl of assorted chocolates by the door, and she'd carved this enormous jack-o'-lantern herself, its jagged grin lit by a flickering candle, casting eerie shadows on the porch. "Keep the light on for the kids," she'd said over the phone before they left. "And don't forget to blow out the candle before bed. That thing's a fire hazard." The evening started normally enough. Around 6 p.m., the first wave of kids showed up, little witches, superheroes, and ghosts giggling as they shouted, "Trick or treat." I complimented their costumes, dropped handfuls of candy into their bags, and waved them off. The street was alive with laughter and the distant hum of parents chatting. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, the temperature dropped, and a thin fog rolled in from the woods, muffling the sounds like a heavy blanket. By 8 p.m., the trick-or-treaters had thinned out, and the neighborhood grew quieter. I locked the door, dimmed the lights, and settled on the couch with a bowl of popcorn and The Conjuring playing on TV. That's when I first heard it, a soft whisper like wind rustling through dry leaves, but coming from inside the house. I paused the movie, my heart skipping a beat. The old house creaked sometimes, especially with the wind picking up outside, but this sounded different. Almost like words too faint to make out. I shrugged it off as my imagination, amped up from the horror flick, and hit play again. But a few minutes later, it happened once more. A low, murmuring voice drifting from the direction of the front door. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing in the empty living room. No answer. I got up, peering through the peephole. The porch was deserted, the jack-o'-lantern's flame dancing wildly in the breeze, its carved eyes seeming to follow me. Shaking my head, I returned to the couch, but the unease lingered. The movie's jump scares felt too real now, and every shadow in the room seemed to shift just out of sight. Around 9:30, the whispering returned, clearer this time. It was coming from the jack-o'-lantern on the porch. I could hear it through the door, a rhythmic murmur like someone chanting under their breath. My skin prickled with goosebumps. I grabbed my phone, ready to call a friend for company, but the signal was spotty, the fog probably interfering. "It's just the wind," I muttered to myself, trying to sound convincing. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Curiosity got the better of me. I unlocked the door and stepped onto the porch, the cold air biting at my skin. The jack-o'-lantern sat there innocently, its candle flickering. Up close, the whispering was unmistakable, soft, indistinct words, rising and falling like a lullaby from hell. I leaned in, straining to listen. "Come closer, see the light." My breath caught in my throat. It couldn't be. Pumpkins don't talk. I reached out to snuff the candle, but as my fingers neared the flame, a sharp pain shot through my hand, like an invisible bite. I yanked back, staring at my palm, nothing there, but it throbbed like I'd been burned. Back inside, I bolted the door, my pulse racing. The house felt different now, the air thicker, heavier. I turned off the TV and paced the living room, trying to rationalize it. Maybe it was a prank, some neighborhood kid with a hidden speaker. But who? And what? As the clock ticked toward 10 p.m., the whispers grew louder, seeping through the walls like smoke. They weren't just random, they formed sentences now. "Ethan, we've been waiting, join us in the light." How did it know my name? My aunt must have mentioned it to someone, right? Panic bubbled up, but I forced myself to stay calm. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and decided to check the basement. Maybe the sound was echoing from down there. The basement stairs creaked under my weight, the air down there musty and cold like an open grave. Cobwebs brushed my face as I descended, the beam of my flashlight cutting through the darkness. Old boxes of holiday decorations lined the shelves, and in the corner, a dusty mirror reflected my pale, frightened face. That's when the eerie sounds started, not just whispers, but faint footsteps padding across the floor above me, as if someone was wandering the house. "Who's there?" I shouted, my voice trembling. The footsteps stopped, replaced by a low, guttural laugh that echoed from the walls. It wasn't human, it sounded distorted, like it was coming from multiple throats at once. I bolted back upstairs, slamming the basement door behind me. My phone finally had a bar of signal. I dialed my aunt, but it went straight to voicemail. "Aunt Karen, something's wrong here. Call me back," I whispered urgently. The whispers from the porch had invaded the house now, circling me like invisible predators. "Ethan, the light calls, see what we see." I peeked out the window. The fog had thickened, swirling around the jack-o'-lantern like ghostly fingers. And then I saw them, shadowy figures at the edge of the woods, barely visible, their forms twisting unnaturally in the mist. They weren't people, they moved like smoke gliding toward the house. Terror gripped me. I ran to the kitchen, grabbing a knife for protection, but my hands shook so badly I nearly dropped it. The figures drew closer, their whispers syncing with the pumpkin's voice, growing into a chorus. "Join us, burn with us." The air filled with the scent of burning flesh, acrid and nauseating. I backed into the living room, my mind racing. Paranormal? A hallucination from bad candy? No, this felt too real, the cold sweat on my skin, the pounding in my chest. Suddenly, the power flickered, plunging the house into darkness except for the jack-o'-lantern's glow seeping under the door. The figures were on the porch now. I could hear their ragged breathing, feel their presence pressing against the wood. One of them scratched at the door, slow, deliberate nails on paint. "Open. See the truth." I screamed, "Go away," but it only made them laugh, that same multi-voiced cackle. In a desperate move, I flung open the door, knife raised, ready to confront whatever was out there. The porch was empty. No figures, no scratches. Just the jack-o'-lantern, its flame steady. But as I stared into its carved face, the whispers peaked. "We are inside now." A chill ran down my spine. I turned slowly, and there, in the hallway mirror, my reflection grinned back at me, not my grin but the pumpkin's jagged smile. My eyes glowed with an inner fire, and I felt a burning sensation spreading from my chest, like embers igniting my soul. The twist hit me like a nightmare. The jack-o'-lantern wasn't haunted. My aunt had warned me about the family curse. Whispers of ancestors burned as witches, their spirits trapped in carved gourds on Halloween. But I'd laughed it off as folklore. Now, as the figures materialized inside the house, ghostly apparitions of charred women reaching for me, I realized the pumpkin was a vessel, and by tending it, I'd invited them in. They weren't after the house, they were after a new body. What? I fought, smashing the pumpkin with the knife, but it was too late. The flames leaped to my skin, painless yet consuming. When my aunt returned days later, she found the house pristine, the jack-o'-lantern reformed on the porch. Me? I was gone, but neighbors swore they heard whispers from the woods, calling for the next victim. Every Halloween, I watched from the light, waiting to pull someone else in.